There are many factors that go into making a website great. Some might say an attractive looking design makes a website great. Some might say that it's the user experience that makes the website great. Or some might say it's the conversion that makes a website great. Well, the hell with that. What makes a website great is the value it brings to the user, specifically the content. That's why I'm sure you like YouTube so much, because of the value the content brings you. The videos, hopefully my videos, but the videos you consume on YouTube makes YouTube the great website it is, despite the annoying user experience of having to go through NordVPN sponsorships all day, or how pretty the like button animation is. It's the content that is the biggest factor for SEO too. You might even have heard the phrase, content is king. Well, it's true. Content mostly comes in the form of text and images. However, there are different kinds, like videos, but those aren't nearly as common as just old plain text and images. And to clarify, what I'm talking about in this video is mainly the content on your average website, like a nonprofit, a blog, or a business would have. Not something like YouTube where the content is basically just videos. In the next 10 seconds, I'm going to tell you how to improve the user experience of your website, improve the conversion rate of your website, subjectively improve the design of your website, even improve SEO of your website, and most importantly, improve the content of your website. And the secret is images. Images are everything when it comes to an effective website. And I'm sure you know this already, but I'm going to put into words why specifically stock photography should be avoided at all costs. I'm going to explain all this through the idea of SEO, or search engine optimization. SEO is basically the practice of optimizing your website in certain kinds of ways so it can rank higher in search engines like Google or Bing. Now, 90% of the information on SEO out there is about as useful as a trapdoor in a canoe. But you'll see the other 10% of it out there saying how the content in providing value to the user is the most important factor for SEO, which goes back to the saying earlier, content is king. Let's look at this article about how to build a potting bench. This article gives a lot of informative content on exactly how to build a pottery bench. They even made a custom graphic showing all the dimensions you would need. And so naturally, wanting to improve your SEO, you might ask yourself, how can I improve my content to add more value to the user? So let's look at a different article on the same topic, how to build a potting bench that clearly aims to provide more value to the user. This article is by Man About Tools, and you can see right away the extra time and effort that was put into this article. There's so much more value here for the user than the first article. First, there's a video that can be watched for people who don't like reading. And then you can see the final product right away. And then, of course, there's real, authentic, on-topic images showing you the process following along. If you're someone who's not particularly handy at building stuff, this article would be immensely helpful to follow along with. The half-ass approach to this would be to use stock images. Obviously, in this case, it's very unlikely to find the specific stock photos that the article has. But the next best thing would be to use images like a man hammering something, or what a 2x4 looks like, or someone mixing concrete, that roughly aligns with whatever the text is talking about. But that would not nearly have as much of an impact as the real authentic photos that Man About Tools used on his website. Stock photos are lifeless images, and if you have them on your website, you're basically saying to the user, I don't care enough about you to put the time and effort into having something more meaningful or valuable instead. They also give the users the impression that you're not unique. You're just like everyone else. Imagine if everyone used a stock photo as their profile picture for social media like Instagram or Facebook. It would be dehumanizing and very impersonal. That's the kind of effect stock photos have on users. So, real images are important with blog posts, but why does this all matter? Because the same principle applies to your average organization or business website as it does with a helpful blog post. Because in both situations, your goal should be to provide as much value to the user as possible. And seeing the difference real images can have over stock photos, you should know that how much of an impact good images alone can make. When you move over to more business websites, in industries like financial or software as a service, you'll often see these kinds of images. If you didn't know, which I didn't for the longest time, these are called corporate style images or graphics. Their popularity probably peaked years ago, but they are still being used all the time. These are functionally still stock photos. Unless these are custom made to what your content is about and provide some sort of value beyond what the user can just read in the content, they aren't providing the user much value, just like the stock photos. So I would avoid these two. Ideally, you want to aim to use non-stock, authentic, valuable, as in adds value in some way, images to create the best user experience and value on your website. The problem with this is that it's hard. Look at me, for example. My website does this horribly. On my website, I have an avatar of myself, and that's pretty much it. All the other photos on my site are just screenshots of other websites. If I wanted to add more value to my website by using just images, there's a lot of different ideas out there for even a web design business. You don't need to be in a visual business like a florist, a cake designer, or even a playground paver just to have engaging, valuable images on your website. For example, on my website, I could use a real image of me. I could be working at my desk, or I could have photos of my brand being shown off in public, like on t-shirts or any branded cookies. Imagine if I went to all the physical locations of my clients and took photos of me standing in front of their business. That would be so cool and add a lot of value to my website. And that's just me being a web designer. There are sometimes niches where it's difficult to get real authentic photos. For example, a doctor's office. You can't just go around taking photos of sick people in your clinic room for your website, but you can take photos of your empty clinic or the doctor's office itself. From my experience, there's always a real valuable photo that can be taken for any business. Some are definitely harder than others to come up with ideas though. And not wanting to hire a photographer is not an excuse too. We live in a day and age where phone cameras are good enough to take photos for yourself for your website. So if you're a business owner with your own website, there's no excuse to not have good, authentic, real photos on your website. What's my excuse? Well, I'm lazy.